gonna fix him.
We're in this together, right?
We need a ton of trick arrows.
Gotta show me how you make those.
Hello and welcome to our third episode of the fourth episode of Hawkeye here on the Flick and Reel Fancast channel. I am your host, Jesse Swift, along with my co-host, Mr. Sean Wingblade. How you doing, Sean?
What's up, buddy? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. This was definitely a flying by the seat of my pants, running home from work and hopping on here and having consistent internet issues. We love to see it.
I noticed. I was texting you. You're like, all right, just a few more minutes. I'm on the way.
How's it coming through now? Because it's pretty consistently telling me garbage internet.
You pretty consistently look like you have garbage internet. So I guess it's right on brand. I feel like it's good. It's right.
The audio's good. The audio's good.
Your audio's good. Yeah. You look a little bit like a transformer here and there, but you're good to go. We'll figure
Maybe my internet cannot handle all the swag we are bringing forth onto the stream today because we have a very special guest, fresh from the Schmodown, fresh from the Blurs in the Hood channel, and that is a good friend of the show but never been on the show, and that's Mr. Winston Marshall. Give it up, Drip Drip.
What's good, everybody? Hello. Happy to be here. Man, if you're Blurs fans, if you saw today's episode,
Chaos.
Jesus Christ, like pure chaos, and purely because it will be my birthday in roughly about, what is that, 4 hours? A little right around 4 hours, and so love it. Love it,
That
man.
was the whole reason we're 10 minutes
birthday.
late is because I wanted to download that soundbite.
Well, thank you for that intro. I appreciate that. But I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me, gentlemen. What an episode. What an episode of Hawkeye, man.
It was good stuff. It wasn't I like that we're getting a bit of a variety. I think there's definitely a reason they released the first two when they did. It was kind of a 1-2 punch. They're very much kind of like one long episode more than two separate. And then 3, we got some unique action and stuff. And 4 is pushing more so the relationships forward than I felt like it was really pushing the plot forward. But being that you are the guest on the show, we want to start out with some of your thoughts. We were breaking it down a little bit before the show, letting you know how we do things. Anybody that is new to either the channel or to this show specifically, we do our spoiler-free thoughts without getting into too much, standout moments, pros and cons of the show, and then we make predictions for next week. So we're excited to get into that. Now, Winston, I know you're fresh off of just talking about a little bit on Blurs, so it should be fresh in your mind. What are some of your spoiler-free thoughts of this episode? You seem to like it.
No, I loved it. I think I'll keep it spoiler-free, but the appearance we saw I thought was pretty big. I think the bonding specifically between Kate and Clint, especially, thank you, Brandon, appreciate the love. I think, as well as Allison, thank you as well. I think Clint finally leaning into mentoring Kate. I think we saw in the last episode where he was like, yo, you actually are a pretty good archer. Like, he openly admitted it, but there is a difference between being like the best archer in the world amongst regular ass people and being Hawkeye. I think this was the episode where we got to see him be like, this is why I'm better than the top Olympian archer.
There's a difference between being able to shoot an arrow and being able to knock somebody out with a quarter, right?
And that was the big thing that I think that was so interesting, is watching him teach her that if she's going to take the mantle, as we know, yes, Hawkeye can, shoot his bow without looking and nail, a T'Chari like soldier flying by. It's as much that as it is, there's a reason why him and Bullseye are considered just some of the most lethal non-metas in all of the Marvel verse, in the sense that they're able to do things with, again, a quarter, a dart, a paperclip that don't make logic. You sound like a meta.
Now you got me thinking of Colin Farrell's Bullseye.
Oh, which again, not a great movie, but Colin Farrell as Bullseye was amazing. Exactly.
My wife keeps trying to convince me to finally get around to watching season 3 of Daredevil. And she's like, Bullseye is really good. And I was like, but it ain't Colin Farrell.
It's true. That is very, very true. I still haven't seen season 3 of Daredevil myself for that.
How did that happen? Like, I was like hardcore watching the first 2 seasons, and then 3 hit, I think, around the time that
because
they
I think Defenders broke my heart. That's
that's
I think it was fine. It was certainly better than Iron Fist. Like, I had to power through Iron Fist as much as that hurt, but it broke my heart because I was ready for like this dope. In the same way we saw Avengers for the first time, because it's obviously way before Infinity War and Endgame. We were like, this was it! And I was waiting for the Defenders to be that, and it wasn't. It was very subpar. But all that being said, what makes Hawkeye so incredible is the fact that he's beyond his bow and arrow. Anything that has to do with his accuracy with anything. And the fact that he's starting to teach Kate that, and then she actually could potentially pick up the mantle. The fact that she learned his quarter trick, which I guess you can call it a spoiler if you want, but it's not that much of a spoiler.
It's not plot heavy.
Yeah,
exactly. That was the big part to me. But then also a lot of the callbacks. You had a lot of callbacks to Infinity War and Endgame with Clint and with Natasha. That was also huge. And so I really appreciate what happened. There's a lot of parallels that happen between Kate and Natasha, which I thought was also pretty amazing. Again, those are moments, but not plot heavy. I just think if you haven't seen this episode, you gotta, as soon as this is over, go sit down and watch this because it was really, really well done.
Sean,
yes, it's hard to talk. It's hard to talk about this whole episode without going spoilers, just because you want to talk
real short.
Well, yes, you want to talk about the moments, though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's the moments that gets you, and the same thing with. Let me talk about the previous episode, the whole conversation with his kid in the kitchen. And they had more of that going on here, which also is kind of like what broke me. I watched the last one in the airport on the way down to LA for last weekend. And I was like in the airport, just like crying, just watching my iPad. And like this
talk to his kid.
Yeah, at least this week I can watch it here in comfort in my own home. But it's the moments that gets you, and you can see, like you mentioned, Winston, more finally taking the role of an actual hero per se, or basically as a mentor. He's accepting it. He's like, all right, whether I can do anything about it or not, like, she's looking up to me, so let me teach her a few tricks. Make sure she doesn't go out there and get herself killed. Except that'd be a whole nother weight on your shoulders if you let it happen. So.
If it wasn't clear, and Sean's kind of brought it up here, you get a healthy dose of healthy masculinity here on the Flick and Reel channel. We do be crying all the time. And there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. Cry.
I love it.
Let the tears out.
I love it. I love it.
I fully agree with what Sean's saying. It's a lot of the moments. So I think that kind of wraps up. You guys took all the words out of my mouth as far as spoiler-free thoughts. So this is your official warning, as it says in the top there, right above Winston's beautiful head there, and that is spoilers. We're going to full spoiler talk, and we're going to talk about the standout moments specifically. That means we can talk about the third act of the episode. We can talk about glorious Christmas moments. You know, Die Hard may debatably be a Christmas movie, but this is a Christmas show without a doubt. So Winston, we're going to start out with you. Now you can fully get into it. What are your favorite moments of this episode?
Obviously Elena. That was big, and having that reveal, we obviously we talked about this on Blurreds. I actually got mad the fact that Instagram banned Florence Pugh from posting about Hawkeye, because some people were like, you ruined the fact that you were in the show. Or if you actually give a shit about the MCU and know who the fuck Yelena is. Oh, I didn't ask if I could swear. May I swear? I'll try and minimize it, but
that's what we aim for. I think that's all we aim for. We don't ask that you don't, but
there's my one. I will do my best to stay away from that going forward. But the fact that if you watched Black Widow, the post-credit scene was literally having
Allison, that's your one.
But the fact that you literally had the post-credit scene, you know, she didn't die of her own. Do you want to do something about it? Because I can help you do something about it. So you knew that at some point Yelena was going to try and get vengeance on Clint, because there's going to be the misunderstanding of it was Clint's fault. So that was the first thing. So we knew that was coming.
I'm surprised it took this long for her to show up. I thought she'd be more on top of things. So I wonder if she'll have a big presence in the next few episodes.
I think that she will be the same way that what's his name? Why can I Baron Zemo? The same way that
Okay.
Zemo, remember, he only came in also around the end of episode 3, beginning of episode 4,
Yep.
and then was kind of there for a minute and then disappeared.
Mhm.
As well as Carter, as well as Agent 13.
Right.
Sharon was also midway through the season, had her moment, and then kind of disappeared as well. I think this is the same thing. So, but like to that point, it was just one of those situations where for people to complain so much and to be so entitled, where they would straight up be like, "You ruined it for me." Well, one, no
Right,
one is
yeah.
putting a gun to your head to be on social media, and if you do have to do that for work and you want to watch the MCU, by either A, don't
Did
follow
you see
anybody.
Black Widow?
Thank you. Don't
Like,
follow.
It was a matter
Yeah.
of when, not if.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
So also, don't follow anybody in the MCU. You made a personal choice to follow Florence Pugh, and you know she's in the MCU. So there's a potential that the day the shit drops, the day the stuff drops, that
Oh,
she
shit's
is.
not bad.
You're okay.
Go after
That you know what I'm saying. So that's on you. I don't
Yeah.
like that. That really upset me because as an actor myself, she's just proud of the fact that, I'm in this show that's doing super well. I'm super about it. And all of a sudden, people are going to get her banned from posting about it on Instagram, which is also promotion for the show to happen. Like, miss me with that.
I want to take a point from that. Like, not that this is the conversation necessarily to be had, but like,
Sure.
can we talk about double standards for a second? Because is anyone coming after Vincent D'Onofrio? Because he's been liking every Hawkeye post. He's been retweeting them. He's been saying, "Man, I'm really excited for the show. Where were you for the rest of Marvel?" Man, like, he never said anything before. So he's basically, like, not so subtly confirmed his involvement in the show. Nobody's coming for him.
Maybe if he put out just a picture of his hand, like caressing Echo's face.
Just like this man
Everyone
uses-
knows that's him.
This
We all
man
know
uses
it's
lotion.
So
or
It's
he,
like
he just posted a screenshot of the Fat Man Auto Repair sign. He's like, "Oh, that's interesting. Interesting name."
He's like David Duchovny, like the hand model in Zoolander. That's all it is.
But the other standout moment for me, because this actually was a very Natasha heavy episode with her only being there in flashback, but between Yelena and Kate's mom and everything else, you got a lot of teasing of her and her influence on Clint and what that means, and even being like the shot I didn't take being the greatest shot I ever took.
Winston
for me,
takes all the shots.
But I it's my birthday. I just really but I just really appreciated the nod to Natasha, because there was, even though she obviously died, I still think about the fact, and I get it because she's one of the Black Widows, that, like, that's the life of a spy. But think about the fact that, like, she's gone, and everybody's there for the funeral of Tony, but Natasha's just kind of the silent name that we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna miss her.
She gets a
too, but
throne
not really.
bench. Like, where's the respect?
Mhm.
And so to actually have what feels like more of a send off to her in that regard, because I don't count the actual movie, because the movie doesn't take place upon her death. It's supposed to be before we even get into Infinity War, right?
Right.
So to finally get what feels like a funeral for Natasha and a mourning of Natasha, that got me emotional. The fact that you finally have the situation where Kate is being accepted as a partner, but then ultimately being like Clint realizing and having his own PTSD to be like, I can't do this. I honestly, like, I thought I could. I cannot have a nut. Like, you watch him sprint to the end of the roof to be like, oh my God, not again.
And it
Mhm.
sounds like a
see
little
that-
bit of Alan Silvestri music as she's hanging there, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh yeah, you can hear the Infinity War or the Endgame score kick in, and that's the moment, that I was saying earlier that got me, especially when they were in the living room and then they brought it back there on the rooftop.
Yep.
They did fantastic. I think it's Lauren Balfe doing the soundtrack for the show, and a fantastic job too. Because you get the music cues, music kind of tells you how to feel in a way. When you're watching a show, it'd be nothing without soundtrack, and they hit it very well.
1,000%, man. I think the last standout thing that really hit me that I thought was just so hilarious was Kate's way of like she does not know how to be a spy. She does not know how to be an agent. So Hawkeye's like, all right, you're gonna grapple over this thing. You need the quick exit. So you're going through that way. Be very quiet. And then he's like, wait, where? What the hell? And she just like walks straight in, talking to her old man. Let me help you with your bags. He's like, yeah, I'm working with an Avenger. I'm doing the thing. And he's just like, you crazy.
Sure.
Just lets her
just
go.
tripping.
So you're just hiding in plain sight, which I thought was great. I loved it.
So this crazy homeless person's gonna kill me. Like, give my groceries back. I gotta get back in my house.
As a bow and arrow, and it's like, let me hold your groceries and talking about you work for the Avengers. Get the F away from me.
In their world, that might be something you believe. I don't know. Like, yeah, I've seen some crazy shit in New York. I don't know what's happening.
It's my money and I need it now.
What?
It's my money and I need it now.
Sounds like we got a Streamlab.
Wow.
Allison Salamoni tipping in $5 here, saying, I want her to earn, or I want to earn to do the coin trick. Also, more trick arrows again in the next episode. Love you guys. Happy birthday, Winston.
I used to be able to do that. Not quite as good as them, but I could flick a quarter. I was good at it.
Oh, you flick a
Takes
quarter.
practice.
You guys remember playing quarters in high school? Like just bloody knuckles?
And bloody knuckles. I was like, you were playing quarters in high school.
Yeah. Different kind of quarters.
All
I've never been in a fight, but these are all scars from playing fucking quarters in high school.
I refuse to play that game. I refuse.
It's a horrible idea.
Yeah. I think one of my stand-up moments, I think, is something we haven't really talked about, is the return of the Larpers. I got to see, I love getting to see them again, and hinting at the fact that they're probably going to be responsible for Kate and Clint's new costumes, which is really cool. And I like the interaction between the cop and Clint. Just like, did you bring a bag? It's like, well, no. This is my bag. Got it from my wife. I just
my wife's bag. Yeah. My wife gave this to me. It says bombshell on it. I better get this back. Can you? Okay, when she approached them practicing their LARPing in the park, straight up said, "Hey, I hear there's a cop here who wants to commit a felony. Let's go. You just want to steal some evidence?" They're like, "Sure, why not? It's for an Avenger. Like, let's do it." Like, all right, cool. Like,
I said a couple episodes that I really needed to see more grills, so I'm glad we got to see grills and the sticker doodles.
Yes. I love that. I love the bombshell reference, as y'all mentioned before. I mean, I thought that was super cool and like a nod, and we'll see if maybe if I think they're treating this as a mini series though, right? The similar to WandaVision, it's not going to be a season 2.
I don't know if it's clear. I think maybe it could go either way, but I'm sure that there's plans for Kate Bishop to do other things. And if this was going to be, I feel like if this was supposed to be a send off for Clint, it needs to wrap up pretty dramatically, I think. And I don't know if this series feels like a send off for Clint.
I don't want him to die, but my problem is if you leave him alive, there's this weird thing of like trying to bring him back.
To unretire for a third time?
Yeah, right. I'm just genuinely concerned. The only way to make sure that Clint doesn't come back is you might have to kill him. Yeah, and now, yes, Kate could be a part of the Young Avengers and you go that route, but I am concerned that they may have to kill him off to make sure Clint is done, you know?
Everywhere I'm seeing is registering it as a TV miniseries.
Here's what you do. Break his leg and let him go home with his family. Boom. Have him lose a hand. Then he's not Hawkeye anymore. And then he will have his family and be Lefty. Okay, well, I think we kind of mixed pros in with our standout moments. I want to kick this off. I want to talk about cons for a second. I don't have many. I'm enjoying the show. I think I got kind of scooped up by it quicker than most people did. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, and there's a lot of people poo-pooing it online. My cons right now is, if I didn't know how many episodes this show was, I would not say it has pacing issues, because I enjoy watching all of it. Knowing that we are 2 episodes between like maybe around 40-ish minutes, so we got, I don't know, an hour and a half or something left, I'm starting to feel like there might be pacing issues, because are you going to wrap up? It feels like every episode is introducing us to something instead of pushing it forward. It's like, here's Echo, here's maybe Wilson Fisk, here's Yelena, maybe her mom's something, what's going on with Jack. And I'm just like, go somewhere with something and go farther. We're 4 episodes in, and it feels like it's still the first couple episodes. So the wrap up is really going to determine, I think, the quality of the entire show for me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm being dramatic. I asked a similar question in the chat poll, so I want to know your guys' feelings. Then we can share that on here. But
sure.
cons for you
Sean
guys.
first.
I
Sean
voted
first.
for no, not at all in the chat poll. Go hit the poll if it hasn't closed already. I can't tell. I think it's. I think what you said makes sense though. If you don't know how long it is, if you don't know the timetable they're working on, then it could seem one way or the other to you, because I feel like it's kind of going for a culmination effect. They're all gonna come together at some point or another. I feel like the Yelena stuff might be kicked off to a end of season type thing. Like they're going to hint at it, and it can come in at either another series or even kind of wrap up in a movie, because who knows what's going to happen in Spider-Man next week. And then you got Doctor Strange, which if they're doing multiverse stuff, that could all affect this as well. I think this takes place 1 year after Endgame, so which is further along than any of the other shows have taken place. So it could all culminate, or they can jump back into the actual movie series and we might not see a culmination of it. Or they might not be a Hawkeye season 2, but there could be a Captain America and the Winter Soldier season 2, where
it could be
you got Valentina coming back to group these people back together, kind of thing. Because they did that in Falcon Winter Soldier. They waited. They didn't wrap up her whole story thing with, introducing herself to.
And then you got the Sharon Carter thing that's kind of left out there.
Exactly.
And we know that that's going into a movie and then possibly another series after that. So I think it's all going to depend on what's going to happen after this. I'm now hearing rumors that Kate Bishop might appear next in Quantum Mania, which would be an interesting place. And didn't that just wrap filming? Or I know there was some of the stunt folks were like giving shirts and stuff, and I thought it was for completing it, but it could be.
That's why we have Google.
Maybe, yeah, that's why you Google it. I now, as far as the pacing, I also voted not at all, and the reason why is if we know that it's 6 episodes, and if we know that they're essentially treating these shows as movies just broken up into chunks. If you were to say the first 2 episodes are Act 1, the second 2 episodes are Act 2, the last 2 episodes are Act 3.
I feel like my own argument's being used against me.
you literally have what, like, for those that are screenwriters, you have your crisis moment where things get at their absolute lowest. Clint ends this episode being like, "We're done. We're not partners. I'm not doing this again." When the whole crux of the show is the 2 of them being partners and her being his protege. So if that is our low point, that now allows you to go for the big climax in episodes 5 and 6 to kind of wrap it up. I certainly understand, because it felt like we had more than 6 episodes. So that's where you might be like, wait, what? But that's where I'm actually feeling okay about this. This is Barton dying. If we were looking at the original Avengers, or not Barton, excuse me, Clark Gregg. Why can I not remember his name all of a sudden?
Coulson. Son of Cole.
It's Coulson. Exactly. It's Coulson dying. This moment is Coulson dying, and now we need to go and deal with New York. You know what I'm saying? So I think if we get to the end of the next episode and we're like, there are still more questions than we are closer to answers, then I think you're on point. But I think you just have to look at this. This was the end of Act 2.
Is it safe to say you guys are expecting basically the last 2 episodes to be a 2-part finale that's pretty dense?
Not, it doesn't have to be dense. I just think that, like, you
I
have.
just mean like a lot.
Sure, but like this is a 3-hour movie. We're 2 hours in, so a whole hour is a lot of time to wrap it up. I know it's broken up into TV episodes, but that's a lot of time to wrap some stuff up. So I think
do have our on-hand archery master here, from the Montyverse. It's Pat talking about that explosive arrow that they used on the rooftop building. That was pretty tight. It's pretty tight.
That was dope. I love the nod to the boomerang arrow, which I don't know if y'all knew that in the comics it's the opposite. It's that Hawkeye is the one being like, "Yo, the boomerang arrow is the ish," and Kate's like, "That's dumb." Then it comes back. And she actually uses it to save her and Hawkeye in the comics. So it's funny that they did it where it's the complete opposite. Where now Kate is like, "You should have a boomerang arrow." It's like, why would I do that? So I love that. I thought that was great.
I've never read most of these comics. I grew up on the Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s, Spider-Man, X-Men, all that stuff. I assume everything is a nod to the comics. And then I can, listen to it later on the internet with shows such as these, or, shout out to Pat in the Montyverse. He does a great explainer video. So I just assumed, okay, I'm going to hear about that later every single time. And,
My money and I need it now! It's my money and I need it now!
JG Wentworth.
We got a Streamlab from Brandon Buck really quick. He just said, so Tom Holland said he knows who bought Avengers Tower. Is it possible it is Wilson Fisk?
That is an option for sure. I think Wilson Fisk could have bought it.
I don't know if they would have something set up in a movie. Well, no, I don't know. I was going to say that seems like a big setup in the movie to have it answered in the show, but maybe not.
No. I think that's fine, because remember, we had a setup from WandaVision to set us up for Multiverse of Madness. We had a setup in Falcon and the Winter Soldier to go to Captain America 4. So I think it has been made. No. I'm not trying to slam on you or nothing, bro. I'm just saying that we, like in Loki. I mean, the one that He Who Remains really being murdered then by Sylvie, and now we've got Kang. We have had, even though they say you can just watch the movies, we've made it pretty clear. If you want to know what is really going on, you got to watch the shows too. So I think it's possible.
I think that was true.
Yeah.
Until the MCU shows happened. You can just watch the movies, but that's not anywhere near anymore.
Who owns the Rolex? I'm curious. Who do y'all think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, and that's a perfect bridge to go to our last topic, which is next week's predictions. Is that a question that's going to be answered next week? Yeah.
Well, before we jump ahead, I want to answer Buck's question. No, Fisk. For whatever reason, I see Wilson Fisk as a street level rich bad guy. Yeah. Not a billionaire worldwide like Tony Stark level.
That's also
rich.
Too much attention.
That's so much attention. Yeah,
hey, everyone, look at me. I'm Wilson Fisk.
Yeah, that too. But I just don't see him as being that big as far as a figurehead in his organization. He wants to, he's doing things on the street. He's good with his, his corner of New York, I suppose. He's not trying to take over the world. He just wants to run his town. So no, I don't think that. But all right, move on. Next week prediction. Go.
Absolutely. Do we have any predictions on the Rolex?
I have a prediction that maybe it was Laura's, because
I think that's the prevailing theory. I like that,
because the fact that she switched to German just like that without any thought whatsoever, I was like, that's weird. That was really weird.
100% getting Laura Barton's Shield Agent spinoff.
Yeah, I think. Well, they were going to make an Aunt May movie, so why not?
I remember that.
What could be interesting to me is because we've never in the MCU proper gotten like Bobby Morse or Mockingbird, right? It's Mockingbird or Mockingjay? Help me, Winston.
Mockingjay is Hunger Games.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think it would be interesting if we get some background and found out that Clint met Laura on like missions, or they were both Shield agents and stuff. I never asked for background on that character, but now I want it.
But I can also see, because well, wait a minute, hold on. I don't think she'd be Mockingbird, because if I remember correctly,
I just meant
Mockingbird is. Oh no, for sure. I was going to say like Mockingbird
fill the space.
No, I get, but it wasn't Mockingbird. What's her name?
Adrian Pilecki.
That's why I was saying MCU proper, because nobody talks about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, I get that, but the fact that you had Coulson and you had Sam Jackson show up at the end of the first season, I know that they made some distance, but it still technically is MCU canon. I don't think that would be the case. But
I wasn't saying that she is Mockingbird. Yeah. I'm just saying like him falling in love with a Shield agent, sure, like he did with Mockingbird in the comics.
No, for sure. I could see that 1,000%, man. But I could also see. Remember, he said the shot I didn't take. didn't straight up say Natasha. They alluded to stuff. What if the shot he didn't take was Laura, again, with her speaking German and knowing that Hydra was very like Nazi based? What if she's the actual like mole that he didn't take out, and it became his wife and all of his kids? Like, so that thought was rumbling around in my mind as well.
And well,
That's
Kate said
such
Natasha,
a big swerve
and I
they
think
set
he
up
said
then.
yes after that.
I'd be for it though. Go for it.
Yeah. I don't remember if he said yes or not. I just remember her saying that, and he just was. If I remember, but I could be wrong because I watched it late last night. That he just got quiet. So whether or not he answered the question or not, he still was going to have feelings about Natasha. Like that's his best friend. You know what I mean?
He basically said, "I could tell she wanted out, and I was right."
Here's
And
potentially an
he
interesting
said
point
something else. I can't remember now.
with the Rolex. Remember, it was found in the rubble of Avengers, like the not campus. That's Disneyland. You know what I'm saying? The Avengers
Compound.
Thank you, Avengers
Yeah.
compound. Would something that belonged to Laura still be at a newer facility when she clearly like predates the Avengers?
I'm not against the thought that it's Laura's. I don't necessarily think it is. I think it's something to do with possibly it has stored information. It's a data drive of some kind. I'm thinking something like Tony Stark. You know, he had his wristlets for what is the Mark 9 armor, and he can easily store how much crap on a smartwatch or a fake Rolex of some kind. So maybe he had information about Clint's family or all of the Avengers in their personal life, and that's why they're trying to get it back. That's kind of where I'm angling for.
I think that's good. Do you think we see? Well, actually, I'm pretty confident we're going to see Yelena in the next episode because have you guys seen the trailer for like the rest of the season? I mean, it's not a spoiler if it's a trailer on Instagram, right, guys? Right, guys?
You're fine.
Sure.
You're fine.
So
Go for it.
There's somebody throws like a bottle at her. I don't know if it shows who, and she catches it and like smiles and says like hi, and then there's like a voice over her saying like Clint Barton, I've come to kill you. And so I'm pretty sure that's probably next episode. I'm looking forward to that. I hope that Echo doesn't get left in the dust because we are supposed to be ramping up and getting excited for her show. So they need to leave us off on a point where we're looking forward to seeing more Echo. Because right now, other than some action beats and a little bit of an origin story, they haven't given us a lot to go off of. So that's why I'm feeling like we have 2 episodes and I feel like there's a lot of work to get done. We need to make Kate more capable. We need more Echo. We need some closure with Yelena, and then we possibly have Wilson Fisk, and then what's the character from the Tracksuit Mafia that is closer with Maya?
Zuri, Kazi.
That's right.
We got there, guys. Congratulations.
We got there.
As a
Teamwork.
We got there.
I want to see more from Kazi. And then the parent,
Kazi, bro.
Kate's mom and Jack. I just feel like
Sorry,
I need
bro.
a lot more of everything. Thanks, Monty.
Sorry,
Couldn't be
bro.
here without you. So
I agree, but I think they might give Echo a John Walker treatment in the sense of, hey, we're fighting, but now we're kind of on the same side to fight the greater evil. And wait, what happened to him? Oh, wrapped up in a post credit because
all it's going to take is for her to find out that the Ronin that killed her dabbed somebody else in the suit.
Who I think is Kazi, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that he's working for the higher up and wanted to motivate her to take over the family business. Maybe her dad wasn't meshing
softening.
Well, was softening, was wanted to get out, something like that, and saw how deadly Echo is, as a fighter, as maybe not an assassin, but she could run the show basically. So that's my assumption. That's what I think is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I went back. I just watched it. Kate specifically asked, "You mean Natasha?" And he said, "Yeah." So he was talking about Natasha.
Okay. So he's talking about
Sean's
Natasha.
just like facts.
Multitasking.
That's how you make sure that Winston never wants to come back on the show. You're like, let me Google your thoughts
I'm
real
here
quick.
for it. I'm here for it. But I mean, to that point though, I do think because the biggest thing above all else is it was at Avengers compound. It wasn't in the tower. It was at the compound. So the question is, who was kicking it there? Who potentially has something to lose for that? And I think
That's
you have a number of
basically.
so you have a number of potentials, but I think we just kind of have to wait and see because they didn't give us enough clues to necessarily figure it out. The only thing you can think of, because it was a Rolex, maybe Cap, but I doubt it. Because the idea that you got in Falcon Winter Soldier is
He's
like he's on the moon. So maybe it was that. Tony, but obviously Tony's not. I think that would be a bad call. It'd be like, oh, whatever. So it'll just be interesting to see what the answer is.
I just assume that, like Batman with the Tower of Babel, like Tony had contingency plans for everyone.
I'm sure
he's like, I got all this data on everybody, and that's what I think is on the watch. That's why I assume that.
That's why both in Civil War and in Avengers versus X-Men, he is out here murking all the people that actually have like advantages over him. So I remember Avengers versus X-Men, the fact that like Magneto was like, bruh, the master of magnetism and metal, and you gonna come at me with an iron suit? He's like, first of all, it's not iron. Second of all, technology. You know what I'm saying? So like it actually became a pretty good fight because Tony had figured out how to reverse, Magneto's polarity and all that stuff.
Right.
So I would not be surprised if maybe it was some sort of contingency plan to take out the Avengers, but I'm just curious. I'm very curious to see who it is.
I definitely have to point out Montyverse in the chat because he's just doing theories up a storm. If you guys are not already following him on YouTube, please do that. He makes fantastic breakdown videos. He's always here for the theories, and he's the closest thing that we have to Hawkeye in real life. Because my all right, guys. Any last thoughts before we kind of wrap?
The Bartons went on vacation to the Avengers campus because it was waterfront. They were having a good time. It's her watch the whole time.
Perfect.
I don't know.
Rolex sounds like something a wrist surgeon would have. It's actually Stephen Strange's, leading us into Multiverse of Madness.
He took it off when he was washing his hands, and I don't know. They could be complete swerve. It's no one we've ever heard of. It's Captain Britain's watch.
That's right. All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank Winston very, very much for joining us on here, and
thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Let the folks know where they can find you.
Absolutely. At the Swaggy Blurred, wherever Swaggy Blurreds are sold, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. But yes, as you just saw that photo, Blurreds in the Hood. If you missed today's episode, I will say Google us or go on to YouTube, go in the search bar. There are 2 episodes for today. Watch the one that is properly titled and then watch the one called Oops, and you'll see why. But other than that, you can also find me hosting the Citizen app, letting you know when there are naked people with machetes in your neighborhood trying to hurt you so you can be safe in that regard. And then obviously in the Schmodown, we're in the off season now until the new year, but you can find me there as well. So that's where you can find me.
And Jesse is busy doing something. So you can find us. He just took himself off the screen.
Oh, God. I think he's going to go. Yeah.
I'm out. He said I'm out. You can find Jesse at Mr. Jesse Swift on Twitter. I think we have a branding up here, too. You know where we're at. Me at Sean Wingblade up here. And, and the FCL right there coming up next season and all that stuff. Training starts. And
yes,
we will be doing our Swift Wings Speakeasy Sunday nights, 11 p.m. PT, where we just hang out and have some drinks, shoot the shit, whatever we're doing. Catch us next time. And I'm sure that, he's not coming back. I thought he was maybe going to hop back on. But everyone have a good time. Winston, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And everyone else, make sure to share the video, tell your friends, come back, and we'll see you next time. Later.
It's the freaking real show. But